Hello.
Hey guys.
Welcome to the weekly AMA. We have the sit-ins this week. I guess the important people are very busy. So we have MGpai with us. How you doing, MGpai?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Super hyped about the fifth birthday of Ergo.
I
It's been
know,
a
right?
good week getting all that content pumped out.
Happy fifth birthday to Ergo. Ergoversary. It's been a great week too. We've had started on Monday. We had several videos cranking out. We had some community ones. We had some good ones from Kushti. We had some other ones from the Stanford guy. Then we even had that cross-chain one yesterday from CKB, right? From Nervos. Was that Nervos? The RGB thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. A lot of fun, a lot of crazy stuff. I want to take a second to say that that people don't notice much, but this stuff takes a lot to get together. You have to first of all, you have to hound the shit out of everybody to get the videos in, and when they finally do, they take a little bit of tweaking. So I just want to thank our sire Andy here, who's behind the scenes. If we could all clap for a second for Mr. Andy, who you see sometimes in chats, but he's the man behind the curtain, like in the Wizard of Oz, that makes all this kind of stuff happen. So thanks so much, Andy. It's always very professional what you put out. And if people didn't know, also Andy composes the music that you hear in the beginning, the end, all that kind of stuff. It's custom music creations from Andy. So a man of a lot of talents that we have behind the board here. Thank you, Andy. He's got a baby in one hand, rocking him, feeding him, and he's controlling us with the other hand. So it never stops. That's for sure. Well, let's get started. Where are you, MGpai? Has Dan kidnapped you and thrown you in a broom closet somewhere?
Yeah. He came out to Massachusetts, picked me up, and dragged me all the way over to Japan.
What are you doing in
And right
Japan?
now,
You got like some
we're
Zengate meetings, kind of groupings?
yeah. We're pumping out some crazy Zenye tech. Right now I'm in his near his old apartment in Osaka. And we have a really cool office. Unfortunately, it's quite late here, or else I would be in the office. Now, could have given the AMA a tour,
What
But
is it,
yeah,
midnight there?
here I am in my dining room.
Is it midnight over there?
It's about 10 p.m.
10 p.m. Oh, that's not bad. That's not terrible. That's not terrible. So I want to get this experience from you. You were, I want to say, wined and dined, and given an opportunity to participate in Alephium's developer conference, right? Or meetup.
Yes.
How was that compared? Not compared, but I guess I don't want to compare anything. But how did you experience that as in a developer from another chain? I know you've tweaked a little bit in Alephium, bringing your HODL token project, Phoenix Finance, over to Alephium. But how was that experience? Why don't you talk about that? Bring some insights back to Ergo about maybe what our meetup could look like when we do those kind of things in Denver or where Joe is.
Yeah, for sure. So, we had like a good conference for a few days in Greece, hosted by Alephium. And, we had several presentations by a bunch of projects and Alephium core developers about, the protocol, where we're headed for the future and all sorts of upcoming projects and even tooling that's available in the ecosystem. Some of you may know Alephium's a pretty new blockchain, more newer than ERG. It was mainnet on 2021, so it's still pretty fresh. And their tech's pretty interesting because they fuse the UTXO and account-based model together. So, a lot of their tooling has been built from the ground up to support this unique type of chain. So, developer conference was about, getting familiarity with that chain and being welcoming to any new, curious developers who made it to the conference. And yeah, it was really nice. I also gave a lecture on some, how the UTXO models like Ergo and Cardano, they're pure UTXO. So, I gave a speech on how their contracts work. And I also compared it to Ethereum's account-based contracts, because Ethereum's purely account-based contracts, whereas its day-to-day wallet transactions are all UTXO based. So, I was just comparing them. I find them really interesting, and I also find it important to foster some, friendliness towards proof of work chains, because it's slowly starting to dissipate. So I think it's quite important to, have support and be friendly, rather than tribalism towards like one specific chain. Like we should embrace, especially in the POW space where, it's dying out. So my hope for the future is to support cross-chain interoperability by, bringing some stuff to Cardano, bringing some stuff to Ergo, some stuff to Lithium. And, we have us at Zengate too. We have built on Cardano, we have built on Ergo, and now we're also looking into Nervos as well. We partnered with them, or we at least, we're good with their DAO and all. So, we are all about cross-chain interoperability, because if we want to move forward as the entire crypto industry, we got to work together.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think tribalism can alienate and isolate a chain in the end. I think that's the only, unless you have a stronghold on the market itself, then feel free to be tribal, because nobody else has a choice. But when there are choices like this out there, and those other choices have some things that you don't, and you have some things that they don't, it's not in anybody's best interest to be tribalistic there. And especially since, the fight right now is not against each other. The fight is against these goddamn corporate entities and government banking systems that have a stranglehold on these financial systems. So, yeah, it's a classic. Let's distract and have them fight amongst themselves so you can weaken them, kind of thing. You really need a strong, united front if this is going to be the way of finance in the future, or at least some part
Right,
of
that's
that.
the real fight. We got to be focused on what the real goal is, right? The goal is to be separate from these centralized institutions that's, inherently corrupted by the government or like human nature. But, that's the real goal. So we got to keep that in mind and foster growth within our own ecosystem.
Exactly, and I mean Rosenbridge proves that, right? That's a whole point of Rosen, at least to open these
Yes,
ecosystems up
exactly.
to each other. Yeah, so that'll be cool. Let's see. What else is new in your neck of the woods? How's the food out there? Which food do you like better? Greek food or Japanese food?
I mean, I've been, in Greece. I actually had a lot of fun with the comic guy, Kudalier. We met up there in
Wait.
Greece.
Who met you in Greece?
Kudalier, the comic guy.
Yeah. He met you in
Yeah,
Greece.
yeah. So,
You're still
we went,
alive. That's a good thing.
yeah, luckily. If you guys scroll up, you can see our chats and baseless and some photos. But we went to some beaches together. We had a lot of food together, so it was a lot of fun. Um, and I'm personally a vegetarian, so it's a little harder for me to come by like vegetarian food. But so far, I was surprised by Greece. They actually had a lot of options, like with I guess carbs, so like bread and cheese, and a
Hmm.
lot of delicious olives. That was a lot of fun. So, I was surprised, but I love the food in Greece. It was amazing. And it's a lot different than like American food. American food
You can
traditionally is
say it.
like,
American food is shit. Period. You can say it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
shit.
It's like no,
Yeah.
there's like less options, and like it's like more, what is it, processed food, right? That's the biggest difference. Whereas Greece, whenever we were at restaurants, it would take so long to get there because they were making it, right?
They're,
Compared to like,
they're
America
killing
where,
the lamb out back. They're carving it up. Yeah, you got it. No, you find that
yeah,
stuff in
exactly.
like if you go to South America even, and you ask for vegetarian dishes, you're getting actual, vegetarian things that are vegetables or things that are vegetable
Yeah,
based.
yeah,
In
exactly.
America, you get a vegetarian dish, you get some fucking processed chickpea nugget that looks like a chicken kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah. I don't even enjoy any of that. Like people think I eat that, but like no. But yeah. So, it was pretty cool. And now Japan, I've been here for a few days, and I mean, it seems to be very carnivorous with the food, but I found a few things so far. Some noodles and some soup and so on. I've been enjoying the flavor and different experiences.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you got that experience. Can I ask what the drinking age is in Greece and Japan?
I mean, in Greece, I think it's like 18,
You have to be able
and
to walk, I think, in Greece. That's a drinking age.
yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, I don't really know if they ID properly. Never even asked once. And in Japan, I think they're a bit more strict. It's like 20.
Okay. All right. All right. So we're somewhat safe. All right. So 5 years of Ergo, tons of progress throughout that time. Um, what's it called? Sigmanauts. Anything new for the Sigmanauts this week? We are putting up a vote soon. I think I already put it up. We want to spend about 5 grand um, on shirts, on long sleeve sweats, on stickers with the classic blue
That's pretty
Ergonaut.
cool.
You know the little blue Ergonaut
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
astronaut?
yeah.
So
The
we're
astronaut
bringing
thing.
that
Yeah.
back. So we're making stickers of that, and then we're gonna make a hat we're gonna make 100 hats. That now bear with me here. They're red hats, all right, with white writing on the back.
Yeah.
It says Ergo, so I'm just establishing that it says Ergo on the back of it. But on the front, 2 lines of text. It says "Make mining great again."
Oh, that's wonderful.
So we're going to bring that to Rare Evo if the vote passes, and we're going to try to sell a bunch, maybe give a little bit away. But the idea is we want to break a little bit even to give back to the treasury. And then on top of that, the plan is to kind of spin off some, whatever inventory's left, perhaps put up a little pop-up site that people can buy that. And then even on top of that, Mark the Shark in the mining pool, always thinking of new stuff, is going to we may integrate like mine for merch. So you point your mining rig to a separate wallet that is like the hat or the shirt, and you mine. And after a time, when your amount gets up to what the price of the product is, you shut off your miner, turn it back to the token or the coin, and you get shipped the hat automatically or the shirt automatically. So kind
Oh,
of
that's
like
cool.
pay directly with mining. So we're gonna try that because we already have the
Yeah.
system set up in the Sig mining pool with like Rosen Bitcoin, Rosen, and soon other tokens. So there's no reason why we can't mine to physical merchandise. So that'll be neat. That's what's happened in the Sigs. I don't think there's too much other news in the SIGs. Kind of, we've all been really focusing on Ergoversary and what that means and coming out with that. Let's go right to a good question that could get us talking for a little bit. Let me open this up. Here we go. MGpai, this is from our lovely buddy Wombo. What
All right.
what would be your vision for the next 5 years of Ergo?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, so personally, I would like to see more user adoption. So, us working on, like convincing people to get on Ergo, by making some at least novel innovations, right? So maybe having like better UI UX experience, that's pretty big. A lot of people complain about the over complexity of crypto and getting into it. So no, I would love to see in the near future, maybe in the next like year or so, we collectively as developers and core members in Ergo focus on making onboarding process like really smooth. At least like lead the industry, the crypto industry in onboarding. Make some like really easy like one tap wallets to onboard something. It would be really cool to show during like rare Evo events. Like, hey, you curious in Ergo? Here, download our like one tap wallet. We'll give you one, or like, promotions like that, and it really really make a difference, and get a bunch of users, right? Because what's the point of all this tech if no one uses it? So I think that's a really good goal to have in the near future. So user adoption. And then next, what I would like to see, which I already been seeing from like PG, who participated in the recent hackathon, is wallets leveraging all these unique features of Ergo. So like we have the NEPA pals, right, which is a super light clients for nodes. So you can run your own node like instantly, completely sync to the blockchain in few minutes using a couple hundred megabits of storage, and you're running your own node each time you start up your wallet on your phone itself. You don't need to connect to anyone's nodes, and this is a really unique feature that I don't even think any blockchain has. So, we should really stand out in that domain and capitalize on like the uniqueness and potential here, right? Especially where, some users might have to deal with, censorship or being careful with like which nodes they directly connect to. So, this could be a solution for that. And, yeah, so, it's a bunch of little things here and there. So I think those are good goals for the near future. And with Rosen, we're starting to get into interoperability. So, I think we'll also have that in the next, few 6 months. Maybe we'll have EVM, some EVM compatible chains, and maybe some new ones, so some in the proof of work alliance. Let's like grow closer with the other chains, make some good partnerships, and then probably looking down a few years in the line, I would like to see layer two scaling solutions maybe, right? So maybe some projects like maybe like high frequency trading wants to make use of like super fast block times, right? Like we can make a layer two solution for that where like there it's a lot more centralized, right? Maybe you'll need like Solana based servers or something, but it makes sense when layer one is decentralized. Layer two, you have a choice whether to use it or not. You can stick to Ergo if you want centralization, or if you trust, whoever's running the layer two solution, you can go ahead and use that for speed, right? I mean, I'm up for layer two for like everyday solutions. I don't need the most trust when I want to buy a cup of coffee, for example, right? Costing me a few bucks. But if I'm like trying to buy a car or something, of course I want a lot of money to have the best security, of course. So I'll just use Ergo. I can wait 2 minutes to buy a car.
Yeah, that's the beauty of an open system and the pain that some people feel, right? So anybody can take it and do whatever the hell they want to. So with Sigma chains and side chains and sub blocks, you're right. You could develop some sort of very speedy chain on some very centralized hardware, and and people could choose to use it if they wanted to. But the overall is that it's backed by a very, very secure proof of work layer one. I mean, heck, you could spin off a chain that's pure ASICs and funded by Bitmain, and it's super fast block time and fairly centralized. But yeah, then it's people's choice if they want to use it. So yeah, I mean, all of those kind of things are possible. I had a thought process while you were talking too, and I lost it because HQ just asked if that's a roadie maker behind you. What's a roadie maker?
I have no idea.
It's one of those devices behind you, perhaps.
I mean, I think clearly we can see an oven, some sort of oven. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's probably that.
But what's it called? I totally lost my train of thought, and forgot everything that you said.
We were talking about scaling solutions and like the beauty of how Ergo
beauty
can,
of open source
scale.
Ergo.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we got Bitmain coming in.
Bitmain, Rosen going out. Yep. What's it called? Did you see? Speaking of Bitmain and ASICs, did you see the announcement yesterday with Radix?
Yeah. I heard. They're going they're going the ASIC route. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, so apparently for a while now, this is apparently the announcement follows what has been happening for a bit, just for them to bring it out in the open. But an ASICs manufacturer, they call the Entity. That's interesting. They call it the Entity. It sounds like some like shitty B sci-fi movie,
As if there's hundreds of
unobtainium. Yeah.
As if there's hundreds of ASIC companies.
I know.
Right?
So they are they've essentially pointing their new rigs that they've made at the chain. and it's going to result in having over a 50% hash rate that they promise to distribute to different pools at this point in time. But I mean, that's a promise from them. And they are going to give 10% of their rewards back to the Radiant community. I'm not sure if that was specified of where that goes to, but that's also 5% of the total emissions per day, which equates out to the math equates out to them mining about 50% of the chain. So they do have, control in that way at least. But it's interesting that somebody can come along like that and just be like, okay, we own the chain now as a single entity. Even though they're not. And there was a good discussion last night in main chat about, it's not in their interest to fuck over the chain. It's not in their interest to do that in the media, at least, because they want to make money. And I get it. I agree with that. But damn, if that doesn't hurt, or, maybe scare away some of the little miners and the little guys mining the chain at that point. I'm not sure what would, but yeah, interesting. I wonder what would happen if a huge GPU farm came and pointed at Ergo at that point. That'd take a lot of goddamn money, though, I imagine, to try to pull the hash.
Yeah, I guess that's really the benefit of GPU, right? Being only GPU mineable. But yeah, again, if someone had their mindset on it, they could do it right now.
Yeah, somebody with a lot
there's no
of money.
incentive.
Yeah, correct. Very interesting. But I mean, that doesn't say that, so something I said to Joe in chat last night was, it's Joe, it's your job to make these side chains and make an ASICs one and steer and kind of control Bitmain into it, or somebody else, one of the other manufacturers. And so, we have a little bit more of a controlled, or not controlled, but more of a guided uptake of that kind of thing with ASICs. But we'll see. I think it'll be really interesting when the Sigma chains comes into light, and you have a CPU chain, you have an ASICs chain, you have maybe a chain with the what's it called, with a table that is less than 4 gigabytes, so older cards can now mine as well. And because you have, we just hit the table size last month, over 4 gigabytes, and a lot of people with these cards that have been mining for a while are like, there goes my hash rate out the window. It's cut in a third almost, or cut in half, or doesn't even work anymore in some cases. So you can open that set back up to people in that case, of these cards that are either sold or collecting dust. I doubt you could sell them for very much right now. But yeah, super, super cool concepts. All right, let's see what else we have here. We have, here we go. Why don't we do this? You're in Japan, you're with Dan. It's a good time to ask this question again for clarification. So MG, I understand that you developed a method to get information from Chainlink oracles back onto Ergo and Cardano, if I'm reading that correctly. So the question is, can you explain what the collaboration with Chainlink brings to both Cardano and Ergo? Again, he says.
Yeah, for sure. So, the reason why we're really, first of all, right, we can of course use Ergo oracles. There's probably Cardano solutions too. But the thing is that you have to do a lot of this from the ground up. And Chainlink has already resources that's invested in making this happen. Like, it's already out there. So a big thing that we use at Zengate with Chainlink is their IoT devices and sensors that they already have deployed and running. So basically we extract data from the real world in order to see, and we put it in, in order to get data that we actually know. We can't just take someone's word of mouth, right? And say, if someone says, I have 100 bananas, how can we trust that, right? So maybe we have a weight sensor developed by Chainlink that's always measuring the bananas. Or maybe there's then maybe to know, for example, tea leaves, you have to be very careful with them, with the humidity and all, probably. So just coming up with stuff in the top of my head. But what if you want to know your tea leaves are stored in a secure manner, so you can have humidity sensors connected to the blockchain, always reporting the humidity level. and then you know that it's stored at like the same level. For example, it's not it maybe if it goes too high, the leaves get ruined. So all this data, it's constantly posted to the chain, and then that's how people can verify and we can prove that the tea leaves maybe haven't spoiled or been tampered with, etc. So this is, of course, this is possible on Ergo, no issue. Possible on Cardano, no issue. But to make these IoT devices, or at least get the partnership with whatever company makes hardware, then deploying all this hardware, it's not a small task. And Zengate isn't like a huge team. Like we don't have like a crazy size. Just like maybe like 10, 20 people, something along those lines. Not even all of them are full time. So, we can't do everything. We got to optimize what we're best at. We got few developers working on, blockchain development, few developers making website, marketing, business people. We're very efficient and we do what we're best at. We don't like waste our efficiency. If we had to integrate or go from scratch, then maybe I would have to do hardware research, or maybe we would have to hire more people to do all that. It's a waste of time. So I think it's good that we got the chain link integration. It saves us a lot of overhead we would have had to deal with, and it accelerates growth. The growth of Zengate is good for Ergo because it's based on Ergo. And Chainlink's also very good for exposure too, because so many people are familiar. Like if you go to a random person who's involved in crypto and you say Ergo, they're not going to know what Ergo is, right? There's not a big chance. And if you say Cardano, sure, they might know Cardano, but they just know the name. They won't really know much about what Cardano is. But if you say Chainlink, the chances that most of those people know what Chainlink is, right? It's been there for a while. It has utility and so on. So, now we get Chainlink's name from us, integrating them. So we can say, hey, we work with Chainlink and, we use their data feed. So some, random person in crypto will be like, hey, I know Chainlink. They're trustworthy. They don't play around. So Zengate's project must be legit. Since Zengate is legit, like, let me check out Ergo, right? So why didn't Zengate use Ethereum or Polygon for their main blockchain? Why did they use Ergo? So people will get curious and we'll get more traffic on Ergo. And in any case, anything that Zengate does on chain, it generates transaction fees for miners on Ergo too. So, there's a lot of benefit going here. So, like I said, we got to focus on interoperability and working with each other. Sure, Zengate can do every single thing on Ergo, but why build what's already out there, right? Let's integrate everything and let's embrace what's there and get some partnerships and get more exposure. So, that's really the why we chose Chainlink.
Yeah, and I mean, I think people may tend to forget that Zengate is a company trying to survive here and trying to get up off the ground and start up here.
Right. If we had infinite resources, I would do everything from scratch on Ergo. If I had infinite time, right, of course I would do it. But guess what? That's not the case.
And you guys could get to a point, let's say in 5 years, you guys are big enough to where you're like, okay, whatever relationship we have with Chainlink might be costing our bottom line too much at some point. So we're going to invest, 2 years of working with Chainlink into R&D to create this product on scratch in Ergo and open it up and then take over from there. So that kind of stuff is possible too once you get large enough to do that, and it becomes it becomes interesting in your bottom line to make that choice, make that jump. Yeah. I feel like people are what's the word I'm looking for? My brain's not working this morning. Holy cow. I feel like people are conflating, Dan's role as when he is advisor to the board of the EF, as well as his role as private CEO of a private company called Zengate. So I understand those roles can be kind of blurry sometimes, but when he makes those decisions for Zengate, he's making them for Zengate, and then when he advises a board or assists beyond his role in the Ergo ecosystem to progress Ergo and make it better, he's making those, could be making those for both at that instance. So it does get kind of confusing. So you may look at Dan and be like, Dan, what the heck? You're advising to the board and you're not using Ergo in this instance. It's understandable. He's got the Zengate hat on and he's working in the best interest of Zengate. And he's using the tools that are available to him in that instance for the interest of his company. So yeah, Nobody, we shouldn't get so pissed off. That kind of stuff turns people away. It really does. I mean, can you imagine somebody, let's take it from Dan's point of view, and I'm not being a Dan apologist. Let's take it from Dan's point of view, who's been advisor to the board. He, had excuse me, he grabbed two amazing devs from Ergo, LGD, and MGpai to build the Winter Protocol, which actually generates the NFT, right, on Ergo. And then he goes over to Cardano, which we all know has a shit ton more liquidity. And he creates a token on Cardano, so that gets some heat. And then he's looking for a solution to bring data on chain. And there's already a big solution on Chainlink. So he goes with that in the best interest of the company and time and speed. And every step of the way, I think he gets a massive amount of shit for it. So
Guys,
you gotta
don't forget, don't forget, we're doing the sale on Cardano, but we're sure as hell using Rosen to bring it to Ergo. Like, like people might know Zengate, and they'll buy into it because they're hyped with the concept of it. And guess what? They'll learn about Ergo. They'll learn about Rosen and so much. So there needs so much more growth we're fostering by embracing cross-chain interoperability.
Correct. And I mean, you saw that, you guys saw that too. If you guys went to the spaces with Kushti and Joe and Nervos and Alefium, it was really nice to sit there in that space and hear these guys talk about similar struggles that everybody's having. And seeing that Alefium has something that we don't, and Nervos is just kind of starting out, and we have stuff that they don't. So it was really interesting to see and experience that kind of similar struggle that we all have. It really brings you back to the point that we discussed earlier, that we really shouldn't be fighting each other. We have to. We're not at that stage yet. Maybe in the years that come, when these kind of decentralized financial tools become more commonplace, then we can start shitstorms with other chains and be like, oh, you suck, we're better, at that point. But when we're still fighting when we're still fighting the same main goal together, to bring about adoption of these decentralized and peer-to-peer networks, I really think we need to take it easy on how hard we shit talk or go hard against some of the people that are working hard like us. Yeah. I mean, that's not saying that there aren't some really shitty corporate projects out there that are super centralized and that kind of thing. I think it's okay to bring that to light. That's for sure. Like, I don't think it's terrible to say, this is a decentralized system that they claim, but how come it's running on data centers that, costs $600 each month, in Amazon or Azure or that kind of thing. I think those are kind of things are okay to say, just to keep it honest. But we're all fighting the same battle here, guys. That being said, too, I was approached by a company a couple days ago, maybe last week. They are a swap site, one that I had never heard of, so I used it, and it actually is pretty good. It's one of the better ones that I've used out of all the swap sites to get tokens from. Where did I go? I used it to go from Ergo to Bitcoin and Ergo to Cardano, so that I could then make that video on how to Rosen bridge from Bitcoin to Cardano and make liquidity. So I used it for that, and it's pretty nice. You can put in a refund address as well, and an email address for those that want to give up an email. But hell, anybody can make a fake email account, so you can use that. Then it's much easier to deal with support if something goes wrong, I feel. And they're open too. They have a timer up top, a amount of time to take the deposit when you create the transaction, or when you create the box for them to do it in. And it was only 30-minute timer, but they're waiting for 30 blocks before they verify. So that's 60 minutes. So the timer was off, and I reached out to them, and they were going to work on that and fix that. But the good news is too, they have a fiat on-ramp that I believe is a non-KYC fiat on-ramp. And they put me in touch with them. So I'm poking around there to see what the requirements are there to perhaps be integrated, see how much it costs, see what the developer time is, see how much of MGpai's time he has to donate to this cause. And go from there. So I'll keep everybody updated on that as it comes. I don't want to keep it in the dark because I don't want it to be like a surprise and then it not happen. I think it's better if it's all out on the table and you guys are aware whether it's going to happen or not going to happen as it happens. So I'll keep you guys posted on that kind of thing. But that's exciting too. It's not as cheap as going through a DEX central exchange. But it has the ability, I believe, to non-KYC credit card fiat on ramp from anywhere. So that would be very neat. What else was I saying here? Oh yeah, here we go. Got another one for you, MGpai. Can you specifically talk about the Winter Protocol, what it is, remind people?
Yeah, sure. So Winter Protocol, simply put, is just a traceability protocol to track commodities and also basically you taking data, storing it on the blockchain. So the Winter Protocol is for as of now is purely a way to store data agnostically on UTXO blockchains. So you can trace the life cycle of a commodity.
And that is, so that means that when Zengate's in full swing, we are going to see a lot of like NFTs created on chain. Is that what we're going to see from our end?
Well, yes, there will be NFTs or tokens created, but they're all for data use, right? So there's something called singletons, and singletons is what allows you to know exactly where data is stored on the blockchain. So if you have the ID of this singleton or of this token, then you can always find the box, the UTXO, where the data is located because it's in a special contract where you can recreate this data. Because, for example, if someone adds a traceability data for a commodity, and let's say they just made a mistake, right? It's a very human thing to do.
Mhm.
Then that UTXO will be spent, it will be gone. So you can't just track the UTXO ID. It will be recreated. So they have a new UTXO. You're spending the current UTXO and making a new UTXO.
But
So
that
it'll be
singleton will
completely
be in it
different
to trace
IDs.
it.
Yes, the singleton will always transfer over. So it's incredibly easy to track which exact is the current traceability object giving the singleton. And cool thing, you can if you go through some Ergo Node API endpoints, you'll see to get boxes by token ID. So what this means is you get the history of every single UTXO the singleton has been inside of. So this naturally works with how Ergo works and UTXO works. But because if you query it like this, you get to see the history of all boxes, so you know all the events that the commodity has gone through, just very simply put. So yeah, it's a really cool protocol which just works with how UTXOs are.
And that's a common thing, right? Like get block keys to singletons to trace
Yes, it's
the
everything.
proper
So most
boxes.
of
Yep,
my
yep.
contracts all use singletons. Yes.
That's right. That's right. Very cool. Um, I'm looking at it looks like we have two more videos posting today. In 77 minutes, we have Hash It Out with with CW, myself, Quaka, and Dan. That's a riot. I suggest you don't watch that with children in the room, folks, if you're gonna watch that. But it's a lot of fun. And then in about 4 hours, we have the next 5 years of Ergo with Alex, reflections on past and future of the core protocol and ecosystem development. So those will be two cool videos. Maybe there will be a fifth video, a third video out today if Joe wakes up and submits his Rosen Bridge one, but but chances are pretty low on that. We'll see what happens there. Um, Let me ask you a question, MG. What do you
Sure.
think? What do you think in your head is the coolest thing in the last 5 years that Ergo has done?
I think the most impressive thing Ergo has is its developer community. Given the price movement and size and market cap and users on Ergo, it's very impressive how much developers we have on Ergo, right? These developers, they really don't have funding. It's all done out of interest, and I think it's quite interesting. I'm willing to bet Solana or is quite similar in size, or really, in terms of interested developers, because most of Solana is all funded by the Solana team and venture capitalist foundation itself, right? It's all done by like the team basically does everything, puts everything up. So on Ergo, the real only team is like maybe Kushti, Morphic, and a few other people around the ecosystem who actually build just like the node and maybe explorers, wallets and so on. But that's about it. Everything else, it's all done by community. Like, we got Anon Real building all these cool projects, all self-funded by, maybe the auction house token, Ergo Raffle and so on. Same thing with all my projects, and then Sky Harbor, Duck Pools, and all so on. It's all community funded. Then developers do it out of their interest. We really don't make much money off this. So I think that's super interesting, and it shows you the reality of Ergo, right? Ergo is pretty real. It's not fake. Like Solana, most likely fakes a lot of things, or at least fakes it by funding, right? We don't really have funds to fund projects. So you can see it's like real adoption, real growth. So I think it's impressive that Ergo is real.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, could you imagine if, somebody brought $5-10 million to Ergo, grabbed a few devs, and then just started pumping volume out and paying for CEX listings and pumping and recycling that volume out? It'd be a different chain. It wouldn't be Ergo anymore, that's for sure. It'd be a fake Ergo, Fairgo, maybe Fargo, we can call it. But yeah, super interesting thought there. I would say in my thoughts, the coolest thing about Ergo and the thing that keeps me here, yeah, I would say it's a couple things. Are you still there, MG? Or am I talking to myself? Andy, did MG leave us? Yep, MG left us. All right, I can finish talking. It's fine if he comes back. You want to fix my video so they're not looking at the bottom? I can move my head. There we go. Perfect. Great. So since he put us on this path, the thing about Ergo for me in the last 5 years, I've only been here since 2022, maybe. I can't even remember anymore. I would say community 100%, and what Ergo stands for. I've never been one to wear a I say it with an Audi hat on, but I've never been one to wear the corporate bullshit kind of blindness of support. That kind of stuff. When I hear that kind of stuff preaching at me, it has a tone of insincerity and non-genuineness that I just I can't swallow. Okay. So if I have, even at work, at work, they have these things called support badges. Okay. And if you do something well, somebody can like give you a badge and you can put it at the bottom of your signature. And those kind of things, that's like very base level, but that's a feeling I get. It's like, I feel it's such bullshit, I mean, like, just fucking pay your workers, an extra $10 instead of a goddamn digital badge you put at the bottom of your signature. So those kind of things don't trigger me, but they really give a bad taste in my mouth. And you can see them when I was at the Cornell Blockchain Conference and I'm sitting there listening to Avalanche talk, and I'm sitting and listening to Solana talk, and it's just so full of some bullshit. Their mission is to make a shit ton of money for their investors. Their mission is not to create, their second mission may be to create some sort of decentralized system, alongside of that, but their main goal, they're beholden to the money that they've been given. And I think the purity of Ergo is what attracts me to it, at least for the last several years, is that there's nobody that we are beholden to. We're beholden to ourselves. If we want something to get done, we do it ourselves, or we find somebody and help them, or find somebody and try to raise money for them to do it. Any speech that you hear, any AMA that you hear here, anybody that we have on the dev updates, it's a developer. You hear Crass talk, you hear Kushti talk, you hear Louis Vatra talk, you hear Marty talk. You hear these guys talk. They are in it for the love of what the chain is and what the chain can do in the financial system for the world. So that's really it for me. I can't sit there and listen to somebody say, "Oh, use our chain, blah blah blah, and this is why it's great, and we have all this speed and that kind of thing." And in the back end reality, you are trying to sell me a packaged up corporate pile of dog shit in my head. So yeah, that's a tough pill for me to swallow, and I think that's why Ergo is so attractive to me in that circumstance. All right. I guess we're doing the psychedelic inception version of the dev update with all my photos here, Andy. This is funny. Any more questions? It looks like MGpai is not coming back, which is fine. So I want to remind everybody that you should be watching all the content that came out that everybody worked so hard on. There's content on Monday. Oh, here we go. He's back. There's content on Monday, Tuesday, and today, and Wednesday and today. And that should be it. We'll have the dev update maybe live, maybe not, depending on how we feel. But tons of content for you guys to dig into. Oh, here we go. We got another question from Wombo. Perfect. MGpai, it's nice to see you back, sir. Dan, cut your internet briefly. So what chain should Rosen add next in your opinion? I think Rosen should, beyond Ethereum, I think they should go to BNB, Binance. I think they should go to any chain that I think they should hit the big guys first, and then make that an attractive offering to then hit the little guys. In this instance, it sounds backwards, but I think you're gonna get the volume there if you open up a pathway to these main intersections that everybody else will want to go to. So once you do that, once you have the big guys, hopefully that can happen. I mean, it'd be nice, right, if we could, not even stop there. If Rosen becomes such an attractive entity to connect to, that you bring on everybody, you bring on Chainlink, you bring on Avalanche, a Polkadot, may I say, anything as far as that goes, I think would be really cool. The point of Rosen is to be that kind of leveled out access that is super secure, store of value transfer between chains, and I don't think it should stop. Yeah, I think it's great that they went to Cardano first, then Bitcoin. They're in the Rosen Light era. If anybody saw in chat, I call it Rosen Light era. Next era is Rosen Whipped. The era after that is Rosen Half and Half. And the era after that is Rosen Heavy Cream. And the era after that is Rosen Fresh from the Udder. So during all these stages, these guys are doing this intentionally. There's a reason they didn't just go right to Ethereum or right to BNB. There's a reason that they chose Cardano first. There's a reason that they chose Bitcoin second. They're getting their feet wet, getting their hands dirty, and really wrinkling out everything that they have to wrinkle out, so that as we approach these, larger chains, and bring this cross-chain interoperability, that it's going to be really foolproof. So yeah, MGpai, what do you think? Where would you like to see Rosen go after Ethereum, let's say?
Yeah, I have a few ideas I've been discussing with the Rosen members. What I want to see quite immediately is the integration with Caspa, and this is because Caspa recently launched KRC20 tokens. So they're tokens in the sense that it's the same tokens that's available on Bitcoin. So it's not really it's not a native token. It's more so of something that people with indexers can do, like off-chain calculation and validation of token balance and transfers and all. So the node has like no clue about it, but you have centralized indexers that people are like servers that people need to run to like check the balance. So this is some development in Caspa because they don't have any smart contracts, but there isn't much you can do other than trade these these assets. So I think Rosen is a incredible potential here, because these people on Caspa, right, like what choices do they have? Either hold it or just literally just hold it. That's the only choice they have, and this KRC20 standard is so new, there isn't any marketplace. And even if there is a marketplace, it's not very complex. You can't really, you have to buy the whole, it'll be just like Bitcoin where you have to buy the whole unit listed. So if someone sells 100,000 tokens, you got to buy all 100,000 tokens for like the fixed price they set at. So, it's very
No
minimal
partial
what you can
orders
do
there.
with
Yep.
this. Right, just like the Bitcoin standard. So I think Rosen has an incredible opportunity here to integrate with Caspa, get some Caspa people on board, show them some, the powerful DeFi we have on Ergo. And then we have EVM coming. So, why even bother with Ergo? They can go on EVM, they can go on Cardano, they can go on anything, right? So, I think this is a huge opportunity because if we integrate Rosen to Caspa, that's really the only thing they have to do. Like, why wouldn't you use it, right? You might be curious, or at least people might even like FOMO in, right? Like, those who bridge first, you can create like a deep liquidity pool, like because you were there first. So, a lot of opportunity here. So, I'm working with a few people, trying to, make get some talks going and, get this bridge going on Casper. I think it's an incredible opportunity. So that's my hope.
You're working with Rosen to try to get that pushed, or you're trying to make your own? I mean,
no, I'm not developing anything. I'm just like networking with people, because Rosen's already done the research to integrate something called Bitcoin runes, right? So this KRC20 standard is, some derivation of this. So it's quite similar. So Rosen just has to refactor their code base and work with Casper. So it's, it's definitely doable. It's not like something that needs intense research. Like we know it's already possible. There's just a developer grind needs to go into it.
that's an interesting take you have there. It almost feels it almost feels like Stockholm syndrome. The initial thought is, okay, let's bridge to people that have no place else to go and force
Exactly.
them
They're
to
like
be
stuck on an island, right? And let's get them moving.
Doesn't feel the best in my stomach a little bit, but I get what you're saying. And then eventually they'll open up to other ecosystems. But that's an interesting take, that's for sure. I mean, if Rosen's putting in the work to bridge them, then why not hang around Ergo for a little bit while they bridge other people on and pull them up? So I get you with good intent. Yeah. Blockjock says, can we skip right to Era Triple Fudge Sunday? We should. Let's just skip right there. No, that's the point of Ergo. Of Rosen. They're very intentional with the stuff they do. They're not going to speed through stuff. They're going to make sure that it's sustainable and not breaking and move forward. That's why it's so good. If any of you, I put up a video yesterday, 2 days ago, on how Rosen works. So if there's any question about that, skip to the middle of that video when I do the Bitcoin transfer, and I do a little pencil drawing with my iPad that you guys can see. If there's any thought about why Rosen is such a secure transfer of value system compared to other bridges that we may know and use in the past. Yeah. Let's see. What else? Any other questions? Oh, yeah. Here's a good one, MG.
Yeah.
This is, take your time in answering this one, MGpai. This is pretty serious. Also, when Ergo names?
Yeah, sure. That's a good question. Yeah, I've been working on it in the last few weeks, or maybe last month, really. But I got a bit caught up. I've been traveling a lot, so I had a lot on my plate. But I'm going to start getting back to the implementation. A lot of it's already done. It's just off-chain, off-chain bot implementation, really. So yeah, my goal is before I start college to be complete with it. It's all there. The contracts are ready. So yeah, it's looking to be pretty close.
Are you in Japan until college starts? Is Dan keeping you there?
Yeah, I'm here for another month and a half, more or less.
Holy cow, man. Your mom is going to miss you, sir. Is she calling you every night, tucking you into bed?
Yeah, more or less.
Oh, that's awesome. A month and a half. Holy cow. How's the dollar stretch over there compared to over here?
Oh yeah, it's very nice. unfortunately for the Japanese, looks like the yen's, has lost the value in the last few months. But for tourists, it's a positive thing. The dollars, goes further, so it's cost of living is very much more comfortable than the US right now. So,
So you can get like
it's nice.
you can stop in a shop kind of thing, pull up a chair, and $5 for kind of a quick meal.
Oh yeah, easily, yeah.
Oh wow, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. So MGpai, my question is, since you're going to be there a month and a half, um, what if we send you a big box of stickers? Are you going to get arrested if you start sticking Ergo stickers everywhere around Japan?
I probably might. People are really respectful here, so you got to be careful. So and think people. It's nice though. People follow the rules, and it's different. But yeah, you need to be careful. You can't just mess around in the street. I think.
No, I did. I remember seeing a while ago there was I think when Japan played the U.S. in the World Cup, it was or something like that, or some other country Japan played, and they showed the U.S. side of the stands is just like shit everywhere, like garbage and wrappers, and then they showed the
Right.
Japanese side, and there were Japanese fans picking up their own garbage and bags, and it was all kind of clean. So that's a very, very good point there. Okay, anything, it's 10:01. Anything else you want to add about Ergo? Wishing Ergo a happy 5th birthday. Anything else you want to add to that, MG?
No, it looks like we covered a wide stretch of topics.
We sure did. And really appreciate you joining. It's now 11 o'clock at night over in Japan for you. That's
Yes.
about 2 hours past your bedtime.
Yeah.
Hopefully your mom doesn't see that you're up this late. She might get upset.
Yes. Hope she doesn't see the AMA.
All right,
She'll
everybody.
probably
Thanks.
fall asleep, honestly.
That's true. That's true. Thanks everybody for watching. Please catch the 2 videos, hash it out in about 60 minutes and an hour, 3.5 hours for Kushti's 5-year video reflections. And for those people in the US that are celebrating July 4th, happy July 4th to everybody in the US as well. Oh yeah, you got to celebrate over there in Japan. You got to take Dan out for something. You only have like 2 hours left of July 4th, man.
Oh no.
Go wake him up. Go wake him
We'll celebrate
up.
tomorrow on US time. US time, July 4th.
All right, fair enough.
Night.
That's right.
US nighttime is where all the fun starts.
All right, true enough. All right, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Tune into the dev update this weekend, perhaps, or live, depending on how we feel like we're going to swing it. And we'll see you in chats and around. Thanks, everybody.
See you guys.